I'm Ariana Westbrooks, and I'm here today interviewing mayor candidate Terry Darcy, and I'm here with some of my classmates. So, first things first and foremost, the important questions. What's your favorite pizza topping?
Barbecue chicken.
Okay. Anybody
And-
like barbecue?
Second is cheese and pepperoni.
Okay. The reliable ones.
Yeah. When I lose out on the bet, who gets to pick the pizza?
Yeah. What's your favorite ice cream topping?
Topping? I like turtle sundaes where you put caramel and chocolate on and whipped cream and nuts.
Yeah.
I'm going to give Walt's a plug because Walt's Ice Cream's been on Jefferson Street. They've been around
Yeah.
since 1926. They're older than I am, believe it or not.
Okay. Cubs or the White Sox?
White Sox, got to
Really?
do it. Yep.
Why? Why the White Sox?
Well, I'll tell you, my dad went to high school in Minnesota with a guy named Charlie Comiskey. So they were roommates their junior and senior year of high school and then a couple years of college, and then my dad dropped out of college. So Charlie Comiskey's grandfather was the founder of the White Sox, and my dad was friends with Charlie Comiskey, who owned the White Sox for a period of time.
Oh.
So we had that connection to the White Sox, and we had to be White Sox fans.
Yeah.
Mr. Comiskey would visit my mom and dad when I was a kid, and I remember seeing him.
Yeah. Okay, so for the questions regarding like the election and your candidacy, so why do you feel it's important for young people to vote?
It's very important because the future's all yours. You know, the only place we all have to live is the future, right? When today's gone, it's behind us. We only have tomorrow then to work with. This community is 150,000 people, but how many of you know how many are there young people are under 19 years old in our community? Just give me a guess.
Under 19?
There's 150,000 in our community. How many do you think are under the age of 19 of you all?
About
19? 90?
Under 19? I
All
feel
right.
like,
Well, I'm going to give you the
well,
answer. 43,000. Almost a third of our community is under 19 years of age. So the future's all yours. We need to make sure that we put things in place that you want to have long before you're my age. Things that would make this a better community for you. You know, quality of life is important to all of us. You know, do you feel like you have all the things you need here to stay right in Joliet? Do you have to go somewhere else to recreate or run or do different things and have fun? We should have that all for you right here in our city. So I think it's really important that you all ask, what are we going to do for your futures? And that's really what I'm most concerned with, is making sure that in 2036, you know, 15 years from now, 2038, what's this community going to look like for you as you grow and prosper and go to work and start a family and do all the things you've got to do? It seems like it's taken forever for you, right? I used to sit in high school and watch the clock tick. I'm like, man, it's taking forever to get this class over. But then as things start going, life seems a little bit faster. But you know, we all wake up with 1,440 minutes every day. And we got to make sure we do the best one that we can. But they seem slow now when you're young, but when you get my age, you don't have as many 1440s left, so you want to really make as much use of them as you can. But I want to make sure that your future is ensured to have a really great place to live.
that's a good answer. Okay, the next question is, what steps would you take to positively impact young voters and give them a voice within Joliet policies and decisions?
Well, this is an interesting question. And I went and heard Lauren Underwood speak for the first time. She is now the congresswoman that represents our district, our area. And the country's cut up into these districts, and there are congresspeople and senators that represent us all the way up in Washington, D.C., where a lot of tax dollars fly. And what was really interesting was when she spoke for the first time here in Joliet after the election and she won as our congresswoman, she said that she grew up in Naperville. And in Naperville, there was a mayor there named George Prattle. And I knew George Prattle. I was on something called the Illinois Tollway Board. We build and run the big tollway system here in Illinois. And what her comment was that when she was a sophomore in high school, junior, she was 16 years old, Mayor Prattle had a program where he would have kids come in and learn how the city government worked. And Lauren Underwood went into that program with Mayor Prattle, and she then understood how government relates to we the people. And that really got her prompted to continue to, to advance herself in government. And she's now on one of the loftiest levels of government in our whole country. And she's young. She's 30-some years old. I think she can make a difference for all of you. She's a lot closer to your age than I am. But I thought, how important is that? If I become the mayor of this city, I would love to invite people like kids like you in with me. And so you can understand, you can come up and sit on the council seats and look and see what it's like to look out there. This is the first time we've ever sat together, and it's kind of crazy being on camera, right? It feels different. But how would you feel if you were able to come in and feel how government works? I might make you the mayor for the day. And you come in and you answer all the phone calls. You deal with the email. I mean, we'll work together, obviously. But it would give you a lot more feel on what do people really do. You hear the term mayor and council member and all that stuff. But you really need to get involved. This is the time to learn that you will be leading this country. 20 years from now, one of you is going to be in city government. One is going to be a council member. You're going to be part of this government, and I'm going to rely on you to make good decisions for me because hopefully I'll be retired by then.
That's kind of similar to, have you ever heard of the JT Student Ambassadors? They help out with Lawrence Staley, and, they help run the election process.
I haven't heard that, but again, that's really important that you understand how everything functions and embrace being a part of it. That's one of the privileges of living here in the United States is that we have an opportunity to choose who's going to partner with us to be their leader. And I say partner because I have to know what's on your mind for me to be able to help with that. And I love that Lawrence Staley's doing that. That gives you an opportunity. There's jobs there. There's careers there. So those are things that you should all know about and be cognizant of. Who wants to be mayor? Come on. All right.
Okay.
Well, we got one mayor out there. But nobody wakes up to be a car salesman. It's been a pretty good job for me too. But think about it.
Okay. So for the next question, what issue affecting young voters would you like to resolve as mayor, and how do you plan on doing this?
I'd like to revitalize our community so that the young voters, again, have a wonderful place to live. I look at our downtown, and there's really nothing that's going to draw you down there. It really is the center of our community, and we have a lot of opportunity to revitalize it. There's a push for the University of St. Francis to bring student housing downtown. There's an old building called Crabagals, and it's been sitting there empty. So if we've got student housing, and if we turn a building like that into a student center, so, everybody in high school, college age, under the age of 21, they would have a place to come and enjoy. The city center should be changed. That big parking lot across from Rialto should be a center for us to enjoy. I've been talking to a friend of mine, Bo Jackson. I don't know if you've heard of Bo Jackson. He's a baseball, football guy. He's retired. Probably one of the best athletes in our time. And I know that the mayor's talking about doing something with the old U.S. Steel property for some battery recycling plant. But Bo Jackson does bow domes now, so he does sporting events and sporting things. He would like to, and he and I talked about this, we'd like to take the property where the old U.S. Steel plant is, get it all cleared out, and put a big dome up there that would be an indoor sports arena for youth tournaments, things like that, put hotels up, restaurants, and have outdoor baseball, soccer, so that in the winter you still have your tournaments, but in the summer it's a center of recreation. It gives you somewhere to go. It gives you somewhere to play. I know with Mr. Bellman, I sponsored through the Spanish Center baseball for many, many years, and it kind of came apart, but I helped get a little field built over on Abe Street, and that became part of the center of that. We don't have that right now. We need to revitalize, and we need to get some of that old property back on its feet so you all can use it, And these legacy, I call them legacy neighborhoods. Some of our original neighborhoods, their sidewalks are a little beat up, their streets aren't that great. That was the beginning of our town. We need to, dust that off and help it get new again. But I can see revitalizing the center of this town from that property all the way down Chicago Street. And we need young people to enjoy it. So if you're there, your parents are going to go there, your friends are going to go there, and I think we're going to revitalize that downtown. So you got a place to go. You don't have to drive somewhere.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, because really the only place where you could go for sports or anything is Inglewood. So it's good.
I have a question. So I have family that used to work in the old steel mill that you were talking about, and so I have a question of what would you do to make sure that that history of like people or families that had family that worked at steel mills, how would you still make sure that that's still like remembered, but still like inventing new, like you said, like the Bow Dome and different stuff like downtown. Like what would you do to make sure that that memory still carried on through us, pretty much,
So there's a really cool stone building that's on Collins Street that's part of that property. I think that would be a museum to the steelworkers that gave all their time and talent. I talked to people that their grandfathers walked to work every day for 30 years. The old story, walk to work in the snow. They literally did. I mean, they helped build this city, but there definitely has to be a memorial to that. And I think that would be a really cool building to just make it happen again. And that stone building, you know what I'm talking about, the one on Collins Street? It's really cool. That could become the Museum of the Steelworkers.
Well, I think that's a really great idea to revitalize the downtown area, especially because, like, as a young person, there's not really much to really do inside the city of Joliet. You can go to the mall, you can go see a movie, but like a 19-year-old's not going to go to see a show at Rialto. You know what I mean? So it'd be really cool to see what new things we could have, so we can actually like make Joliet, feel more like our home.
I was just down in Dallas, Texas for a meeting and a conference, and they've got a town square about the size of ours. It was really cool. So up on one building was a huge video wall, and it just played cool stuff like rain falling or leaves flying, but it was active all the time, and the surface of it was either like a hardscape, like tile, and artificial turf, and they had tables and chairs around it, and there was restaurants that were all around there. So in the summer you could go there, you could eat out. You could eat in the winter, but it was really kind of cool because it was a town center. And we've had festivals downtown that have been really, really fun. Fiesta in La Calle used to be over at the Bicentennial Park, and I worked it. And I said one time, we've outgrown this thing. We got to move it downtown. So everybody got together and moved it downtown, and now it's thousands of people get to come down there. So if you can imagine, now we've got this really cool city center. We got this big video wall up there. We make the parking deck facade look like it's a bunch of buildings. It doesn't look just like a parking deck. And now you got this really cool area down there, and you put a stage up when you need it. Now you got big party space. And if you ever, they call them soft curbs, where they don't have a curb like this on the side of the street. You call them soft curbs. So you shut all the streets down. That's a party center. We have New Orleans North. We have Fiesta in La Calle, including you.
Star Wars Day.
Star Wars. And I got to tell you, Star Wars, when they started that, they came to me and they said, "What do you think?" I said, "I think it's a great idea." I invested in that. Very first Star Wars event, I was a major sponsor. New Orleans North, major sponsor. They came to me, "What do you think, Terry?" I said, "I love the idea. Let's do it." So I sponsored it. I invested in it. Fiesta in La Calle, I became an investor in that. And it's really, a lot of that money goes to the Spanish Center, where it should go. What else have I've just had so much fun. I've been part of the fireworks we're at the stadium for many years. I always help fundraise for that. And that was cool because part of the community gave $5, $20, $50. And we raised the money every year for those fireworks. And it was always there. And I know they do some at Bicentennial Park. The Taste of Joliet, 15, 16 years ago, they came to me. 17 years ago, they came to me, and the director at the time wasn't really on board. Well, we could have had Carrie Underwood come here. It was her first year out of American Idol. And he said, "Oh, no, we can't afford to do that." I said, "We can't afford not to do that." So then he left, and the next director came along, but there's a guy named Brad Staub that now runs the Park District. I said to Brad, "We got to go for it, buddy." So I invested in the Taste of Joliet. Now every year some years we get 60,000 people out there. We get great talent, Friday, Saturday, Sunday. So those are the things that I want to continue to see us all do, There's an old saying, the best time to plant a tree was 20 years ago. The second best time is today. What trees are we planting for you to see grow over the next 20 years? Like, the Fiesta in La Calle, things like that. You're all going to be able to do all that stuff. You're the ones that are going to be able to stand in the shade of the trees that we all plant for you now, but you got to be interactive with us.
It's a nice metaphor. Before I move on to the next question, is there anything anyone would like to say, just regarding Joliet or anything like he was saying, like giving us something to do within the community?
I just agree that like our city like needs something that keeps everyone engaged, especially with each other. Because a lot of my friends are like, "Well, what's there to do in Joliet?" When we ask to hang out, it's like we don't want to just go to Target in the mall just every day. So
Yeah.
we just need more things to do and to keep us all together.
Yeah.
So a student center downtown would really be fun, wouldn't it?
Yeah.
I know the library's cool, but that's not really one to hang out. You can't get loud, you can't have fun. I mean, can you imagine a cool student center where you can mess around, have plays, but be like a huge Starbucks? Everybody go to Starbucks?
Yeah, that's my happy place.
Well, it's a doggone expensive happy place. I'm not going to say nothing, but it's cool, and we don't have a Starbucks downtown. How about if we had a student center with a Starbucks and everybody from all the high schools and college students, everybody could find a place to hang out in the summer. Our downtown should be full of kids.
Yeah, and when you do stuff like that, people actually go. Like, just take Gallowich, for example. Everybody's always there playing basketball.
Yeah.
The new gym that they just made, Vasa, it's packed like every single day.
Where's the new gym at?
It's, yeah.
By like
Where Ultra used to be, Ultra Foods.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, that's where
okay.
it's at. Packed.
So-
Also, I'm gonna be honest, I was just thinking about how we need a Starbucks downtown.
All right, there you go. You heard it here first.
We really do. After school, me and my friends, we drive down to Starbucks. Like, Starbucks and Target. That's where
Yeah.
we go.
So I'm going to go back to the sporting thing. So if we had a bow dome out here or a tournament dome, the idea of that is that, everybody that's in youth sports, they'll go to a baseball or volleyball tournament somewhere, and they get there on Thursday night, and you play Friday, Saturday, and you go home Sunday. So that would mean that would be available during the week a lot for our community to use. And really, if we can get this thing done right, and the outdoor has a lot of baseball and stuff, they got all those cool baseball fields at Inwood, right? Imagine if we duplicate that over in this area. And now the downtown starts to revitalize. And so if you've got a nice walking trail, or maybe we got to get a bridge or something to bring you over the railroad tracks, whatever, we can connect all that activity to the downtown. We get a Starbucks. We get a youth center downtown. We get students living down here in student housing. I love the idea. Starbucks, number one.
I think it's very crucial to do that as well with revitalizing because, like how you said with the Bowl Dome, a lot of people in Joliet, they travel for like travel basketball, AAU,
Sure.
football.
Yeah.
They
Yeah.
go to other places. So I think it would be good for them to come here and we host,
Yeah.
a tournament or, something like that to bring in people. So, and then with revitalizing it, make them want to come here more. So,
Mhm.
And I think too, like, Joliet has a wealth of talent.
Absolutely.
And really, like, athletic people who just need that opportunity to hone their skills,
Yeah.
I was just thinking that, like, a lot of people that I know growing up didn't have a lot of opportunity or didn't see a lot of opportunity, and they ended up taking paths that weren't great for them, and to think if they had Bodo, if they had those opportunities that we had, how different their life could be.
Mhm.
I feel like this is a very good idea. This is very important for our youth.
And that idea of just nurturing the youth, like, we see that often here in Joliet, like Joliet Unity Movement. I just think if we tap into that potential of people in Joliet, there could be great things that would happen.
Yeah. I mean, I think about movies in the park, the movies that are done through Unity Movement 2815. You imagine if we had that big old video wall up there and it's a nice summer night and everybody gets to hang out and there's a Starbucks and stuff to do. I mean, we can get everybody back downtown because right now after 5 o'clock, what's there to do? You got a couple parking lots and a parking deck, but I've been to cities where their parking decks look like they're buildings. They look like there's some cool old buildings along the way, but they're actually just parking decks. And the other thing I think that we need to talk about for the future is I'm driving an electric car out there. Anybody driven an electric car yet? I think we all should take a ride in it today. That's what you're going to be driving. In 10 years, you're going to be driving a car like I'm driving today. And I don't know where to go to plug it in. I know there's one out in Walmart on the west side. There's some around, but right now the federal government's offering a lot of money to help cities expand electrification. And as we talk about revitalizing downtown, we need We need to get that in our mind too. So when you are driving 10 years from now, you come down to hang out at Starbucks, you can plug your car in while you're in there having your coffee. You know, things like that are what makes me excited about becoming mayor of the city, because I can help connect those things. I can call Lauren Underwood and say, hey, Joliet's got a really cool idea, and we've got some students who want to talk to you about it. So you're all going to get involved in stuff like that. And you'll feel how government works, how you can work together and get things done.
Okay, are you guys ready for the next question? Okay, voting turnout amongst young people tends to be relatively lower. So what plans do you have to get young adults involved in the election process?
Ask you all, go out and tell your friends to vote. It's up to you. You know, word of mouth is the most important aspect of how we communicate with each other. You know, years ago, I used to spend money on advertising. And I realized, you know what, this is a waste of money. So what I used to call advertising money, I now call investment money. And I put it back into the community, and people know that. And I don't do it so I can say, oh, look what I did. I do it because it's a good investment in the community. You know, the Fiesta in La Calle, the New Orleans North, the Star Wars, the Taste of Joliet. That's so we can all have fun. I said my tombstone is going to say fireworks and festivals. But what we need to do is get you engaged, get you to realize your vote counts. You know, I tell everybody, if I only win by one vote, it could be your vote. It could be your vote. It could be your vote. It only takes one more vote than the other people have to win. Mm-hmm. But you got to believe in the person that you're voting for. You got to think, is this really the person I want to represent me? Can I talk to him someday if I ever have a real problem, if I want to know something? But if I become mayor of the city, I would love to do what Lawrence Staley Fair does, what Mayor Prattle did, to help you understand better about what we're doing. And when we walk out of here today, I hope you feel like you could tell some of your other friends that are voting age to vote, because I want to do what's right for all of you. I've already lived a great life. I've worked hard, and it's been great. But the best thing I can do is help you make a better city for yourselves, and I can be partners with you on that.
Has anyone here voted ever? Oh, okay. And some of them are underage, so.
Well, how soon will you be 18? Before April 4th?
Voting is April 4th?
Yes.
Okay. April 4th.
Yeah.
Your birthday, April 4th?
No,
All
I'm
right.
18 already.
Okay. You can register any time at the county building, and you could leave here, you could get down there and register and vote for Terry, if you want. If you believe in me. You have to believe in me, though. You have to believe in who it is you're voting for. It seems like, you know, Lauren Underwood is so far away. She's in D.C. You know, we really don't connect with her. Mm-hmm. But she does connect to the ground floor, to whoever the mayor of the city is, the city council, the city manager. And I'm not afraid to call a Lauren. I'm not afraid to call her. I deal with congressmen and different issues I'm on, and different boards I'm on, and they're just like us. They want to hear from us. They want to hear from you. You're the future. And you know what? We have to create the future. We can't wait for it. Mm-hmm. Starbucks isn't going to get here if we just wish for it. We gotta act on it. We will get a Starbucks down here.
And I know that, I know for Joliet West, they have like little programs to help kids. Like if they don't know how to vote, it was optional. The 18-year-olds during their class, they could go to the library, and the librarians gave them a lecture on how to vote in person or through the mail. So I guess there's not really an excuse.
Well, you know, you seem like does it really count? It really does count. And when you really look at it, you know, if we did this with everyone that's in high school right now, juniors and seniors, everyone that's about to become 18, if we all did this with 10 at a time, I think it would start becoming more and more important. You know, I think a cool field trip would bring class by class down to the Joliet City Hall and come into the city chambers and feel it, you know. I mean, that would it would resonate a lot more with you that, oh, this is how it works, because it just seems like out of sight, out of mind, right? But we really do need y'all to get engaged. It's so important. It's all about the future, and you're the future. I want you to make this place fun for me someday, too. You know, I want wheelchair ramps everywhere, because, you know, wheelchair races for guys like me.
Well, that was all of my questions. So is there anything else that anyone would want to throw in?
Yeah, I have another question. So I have a question. So let's say we leave here, right? And we go to one of our friends. How would you recommend us to go talk to them to just get into more, not just politics, but into local voting?
Well, I think, first of all, you got to believe in me. So when we walk out of here, I hope I've made you feel like I would be the right steward for your future. And then you could just tell them how you feel. I mean, it all comes from here. You know, I could tell you what to say, but that's really, it's got to come from your heart. You gotta say, this guy seems pretty cool, and I think he can lead to the future for us. I think he's going to get us a Starbucks. We might get a big video wall downtown. We might have a park. We might do this. But I want to do that. And, you know, I've been to Disney Institute 2 times for training. I'm a General Motors dealer. So I went out there with National Dealer Council one time. That's a group of 15 dealers that meet with the heads of General Motors. And they want to know what's going on the ground floor. So they said, we want you to go to Disney and take the Institute. Tell us if that would help all of our other General Motors dealers to be better at interacting with our guests. So we did that. And then when I bought a Chevrolet store a few years later, they said, it's mandatory every Chevrolet dealer goes. And I said, well, I've already been once. They said, it's mandatory so I got to go twice. But the one thing that they left me with was, who's your Imagineer? Who's the Walt Disney of your business? Who's going to help you decide what your business is going to look like in 1, 2, 5, 10, 20 years? So it really struck me, you know, I need to be my Imagineer. And that was a long time ago. And, you know, we're about to build the biggest Hyundai store in North America right here in Joliet. I Imagineered it. I knew it was going to happen. I visualized it. And I bought that land 20 years ago to do that. And today we're building that. So again, you know, planted the tree 20 years ago here, and now it's starting to grow. So you've got to think about that. A lot of times, you know, somebody will say, how's it going? I'm living the dream. Okay, what's the dream? And it's kind of a metaphor then, you know. Have a dream. Follow it. Find it. You know, it's hard when you're 16, 17, 18. What do I want to do? And what options are out there? The world is yours. Take advantage of it. You know, don't be afraid. Have courage. Go after it. Have fun. Find something you're passionate for and do it, you know. And, you know, I got out of high school. I became an iron worker. I was, you know, working on putting steel together and tying rods and all kinds of stuff. And I got into the car business. It was kind of a defining moment for me, and it changed my life. But what it helped me do is change others' lives. That's the key. It's not what you get, it's what you can give. So just be prepared to give whatever you have to someone else to help them.
Okay.
Feel good? You feel good? I think it was great so far.
Oh,
You have another question? Speak up loudly.
Okay, so Darcy is like a name that everybody, most everybody in Joliet would know, like when they hear it. And I'm sure that there's like, maybe we're a small group here, so we're not a great selection to choose from, but out there, there's definitely people who have ambitions and want to like do what you're doing right now. Like you have a good following, you're running for mayor. What's like a piece of advice that you could give to those like that youth that wants to be maybe like somewhere where you are today?
Well, get involved. Think about what you want to do. Plan it and do it. You know, I think we should have some entrepreneur courses, things like that help you to understand what's it take to get started. So I was lucky. When I got out of being an iron worker and I went to work at a car dealership just to try it, and I liked it. And I refer to myself, I'm in the people business. I'm in the people business. Cars are my commodity. But I started out, there's an old saying, you got to crawl before you walk and walk before you run. So I sold cars, and I liked it. And I liked dealing with people. And I wasn't one of these guys, it's all about making money. It's all about finding the right fit. You know, what's your need for a vehicle? What's your need? What's your need? And let's make sure that the need fits the economics of what you need. So I enjoyed it so much. And I worked here in Joliet at one dealership, and then I had an opportunity to go to a store in Naperville. I worked up there for 6 years. And when I interviewed with the dealer, the owner of the store, I said, I want your job someday. Not you know, he's not going to sell me a store, but I said, I want to learn to do what you do. And he gave me an opportunity. I started selling there. I did real well. Then I was a business manager. I was a new car manager. I was a used car manager. He gave me an opportunity because I knew that I could do well in the industry. And then in 1991, things were really bad in the economy, and I was able to get into an old store here in Joliet that was basically out of business. And I really had the desire to make this work. And so I worked really hard. The first couple of years, I probably could have made more money working at McDonald's, but I knew long term that I would be able to bring this business back and do well in the city of Joliet. I love Joliet. So you got to have courage, and you got to decide this is what I want to do, but you got to lock onto it with a passion. There's two things that go to work for, a paycheck or a passion. And when those two come together, it's unstoppable. But what this has allowed me to do is to give back to the community, to help where needed. You know, your grandmother's a great lady. She helped start with Amy, the Unity 815. I mean, that's so important that we got to remember we got to help each other. That nothing's said more than that. Than find someone who's a little less fortunate than you and help them. That's really been driving me a lot. So, but find something you love and do it. What do you love?
Love to write. I'm definitely a writer, so that's one of my passions.
She's really
Great.
good at it.
Yeah, really cool. You know, there's Zonta's having a program, I think March 30th, and it's a short film festival with women that just did movies, and I think they're all 3 to 5 minutes. So, you know, there's probably a lot you can do with your desire to write. You know, don't go out and become a dental hygienist. You love to write? Follow your writing passion. That's really important. I see people go through college and become nurses, and they hate it. And they're doing it for a paycheck, but then they realize this isn't what I really like. So make sure you love what you do, and you'll never work a day in your life.
Right, chase what you love, yeah.
So, any other things anyone wants to say? No? Okay.
What do you want to do? I'm going to ask some questions. My turn. Come on.
I go to JGC for interior design, and then I'm also an explorer for JPD.
Oh, great.
Yeah,
That's a great program.
yeah, I love it so far.
You should. I was just at an awards night at the VFW for the police and fire, and you know, so if you have a passion to be a police officer, I think that's important.
Mm-hmm.
What does police officers do? They serve and they protect. And when that's who you are, you're going to do the right thing. You know, their job is hard. You know, you've got a lot of mental illness out there. So an officer comes up on a guy burning mini flags in the middle of Larkin Avenue. They're not mad at the country. They're not right now. How do you deal with them? So as an officer, you serve and you protect, and you get help for that person. But good for you. How about you? What's your favorite class?
Oh, well, journalism.
All right,
They're
so we got a
together,
couple writers.
3 of us.
Yeah.
Maybe,
Oh,
you know.
4. Oh, I'm sorry, Cheyenne.
Yeah? Well, I'm not good at writing, so maybe it could be my speechwriters.
Just like help people or see growth, like physical therapy.
Great. That's going to be important for old guys like me, I got to tell you. Somebody's going to have to push me around somewhere. But, you know, that's such an important part of our life is physical therapy. You know, I've seen people come through it, and it's so important because everybody wants to give up when they're in that situation where, you know, broken arm, something that happened to them, and every day they need somebody to encourage them, give them a hand up, just help them a little bit. You know, I used to lift weights. I might not look like it now, but, you know, someone you'd be benching, and you just need someone to put their fingers under the bar, more mentally than physically. I mean, they weren't grabbing it. But that physical therapy is excellent. There's so many openings for that. It's unbelievable. So that'd be a great career to follow. So good for you.
I want to be a business owner.
You do? You want to buy my place? It's for sale. You got to take over the loans. Nobody wants to do that. I got to tell you. Somebody said you're rich. I said, if you went to bed with my loans, you wouldn't sleep at night. But I built my business, and I have to borrow money to do it. But I'm not afraid of it because I understand what we're doing, and it helps me. But I'd love to help you learn how to get into business. I really think that I was talking to Reverend Martin from this church on Briggs Street, and he's got a friend that teaches entrepreneurial classes. And I'd love to take maybe a couple of the classrooms downtown here that University of St. Francis has, integrate that so that while you're a junior or senior in high school, you start to think about, you know, what can I do? You know, where can I start? But you always got to remember, you got to crawl before you walk. Nobody starts out as a president of the company. You all have to work your way up to it, and that's a great dream. And you want to be a journalist.
Technically, I want to be a professional photo photographer.
Oh, wow.
Her photos are really good.
No way. You make me look,
Professional dancer.
can you make me look good?
Yeah, she's really good.
That's a great profession, too. I have a friend that, well, he had a tough life. He was in a lot of addictive behaviors, and things went bad for him. He got involved with a church, and he went over to Africa on some mission trips to help over there. And he was a fantastic photographer, but he didn't know it. And so he started taking pictures in these mission trips, and he was hired by missionaries to be their official photographers. He travels all over the world now, Haiti, different places where there's a lot of struggle, a lot of poverty, because he's got a vision and an eye for photography. I can't do it. I'm terrible. I don't have any art. I don't have anything, but follow your dream. That'd be great. How about you?
Well, I'm going into journalism. Like,
All right.
I don't know where yet, which school. I don't get my decisions back till April, but that's what I'm doing next year.
That's great. You know, everybody needs to have a lot of great writers. There's so many great books written in the past, and there's so many stories to tell of now and the past and the future that we need journalists and photographers to make sure we get there. We need entrepreneurs to make sure that we have businesses running. We need physical therapists for when we hurt ourselves. We need actors. So it was really fun to sit and talk to y'all, and I really appreciate you taking the time.
Thank you for coming out today and answering my questions.
Thank you for coming out today, all of you, and I really appreciate your questions. They're really good, and I hope that you and I connected well so you understand what we can do for you as mayor of the city, and hopefully one of you will want to be mayor someday. But I really, really appreciate you taking the time, asking the great questions, and I hope I answered them right for you. And I know there are some voters here, and I would ask you if on April 4th or before you could vote for me. I'd love it. And if you think I'm the right person to lead the city into the future, ask some of your friends to vote for me. And I really, really appreciate you taking the time to come out today and do this. Thank you.